why I got my phone the right way, but it seems like the live stream is sideways. I don't know. Whatever. Hopefully it's not. If you guys are on your phone, you can rotate the phone, whatever. Anyway. Um I was watching a video. Just waiting for my food delivery, if you're wondering. I was watching a CNN panel, and they were talking about, obviously, what else would they be talking about, right? Talking about the Republican Party and Donald Trump, and how the Republican Party needs to look at this moment as an opportunity to switch their allegiance from being loyal to Trump to being loyal to their voters, right? They should focus on the voters, not on Trump, right? They should stop. So they presented this image that the Republican Party is all, worshiping Donald Trump. It's all about Donald Trump, right? And certainly an argument like that could be made, and from a certain perspective, it would be an accurate argument. However, there's a fundamental thing that CNN is missing, and I think they're doing a disservice to their viewers by not informing the viewers about the reality. The Republican Party doesn't care about Donald Trump. It's not about Donald Trump, right? The Republican Party doesn't even like Donald Trump. If you look at a lot of people in the Republican Party, they're very critical of Donald Trump in the beginning, right? They were very critical of Donald Trump in the beginning. And this is a strange irony, right? So in a segment where you're presenting that the GOP needs to put their voters first and not Trump first, right? In that same segment, right, you are not realizing that that's exactly what the Republican Party is doing, right? In the beginning, Donald Trump seemed like a wild card. They were calling him out, right? But once they saw the voters were behind Trump, what did the Republican Party do? Once the Republican Party saw the energy that was behind Trump, the amount of support that the voters had for Donald Trump, what did the Republican Party do? All the people who criticized Donald Trump is this, Donald Trump is that, he's this, he's a liar, valid or invalid critiques, all those people all went in line, not with Donald Trump, but with their voters. Now, if you want to get a little deeper, then you would say they're not really focused on their voters, and I would agree with you in a way that they know the things that would make the lives of their voters better. They know the things that would help their voters in terms of, achieving that American dream, right? But rather than focusing on doing those things which would be better for their voters, they focus on giving the voters what they want from a perspective of, I'm gonna make an analogy, please don't read too much into it, but think about a parent, right? You critique a parent in terms of, you're not really like, you're not really a good parent, right? You're not really delivering for your kids. You're not really delivering on what your kids need. Your kids are saying they want more attention from you, or they want whatever, and you're not delivering, right? And then you have a parent who, anytime the kid wants ice cream, they get it. Anytime they want, they're like, I want ice cream at like midnight. Sure, right? Mommy, I want to stay up until 1 a.m., right? Whatever their kids want, they get, right? Whether it's good for them or not. And that's a distinction. There's delivering on what the voters want, and there's delivering on what is good for the voters. And there's, of course, a challenge there because, it's kind of awkward. You're going to decide what's good for the voters, right? That's a weird, I guess I would argue that it will be your job to properly inform your voters so that they can realize what's good for them, and then they tell you that they want that thing, right? Make an argument, make a case so the voters realize, like, this is actually better for me. Rather than, again, being that parent who, trying to really be a good parent, but then you're just like, you're listening to everything your kids are saying. Kids are saying ice cream, I want ice cream, and you're like, ice cream. That's what the Republican Party does. Republican Party is a parent and I hate that's why I said not to read too much into it in terms of the analogy of parent versus kids, and not trying to put politicians as our parents and we're kids, but just separate that part. Just focus on just the idea of delivering on something because someone is saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then you're going to deliver it even though you know it's not good for them, right? That's why I use the analogy with the kids. This is that concept holds, right? So the Republican Party delivers not on what the voters need and what's good for the voters, but they deliver on what the voters seem to be excited about. The kid is excited about the ice cream. Let's get him ice cream. That is the Republican approach. But then again, CNN comes in and it's like, all about Trump. It's not about Trump. No, it's not about Trump. And another further thing that like shows how like incompetent they are is in this very segment, they're talking about how like there's a lot of people in the Republican Party who are now sort of, you know, calling out Trump or they're critiquing Trump or whatever kind of thing. Again, the Republican Party is doing what the voters want, right? The voters said they wanted Trump, so the Republican Party was not, I guess you could get into technicalities, right? It was not really about like let's get behind Trump, like, oh, Trump is amazing and Trump, and we're gonna do whatever. No, our voters love Trump, right? And we want them to vote for us so we can get money and power. So we're gonna pretend to like this guy. Yeah, Trump this and Trump's policies and unemployment was low and he this and America first and this is what I'm gonna say. Whatever bullshit I'm gonna talk about. Oh, the election is this stuff that we don't know, right? I'm gonna say whatever bullshit, right? That is going to energize the crowd that can get to vote for me. And if those people want Trump, and Trump is talking about this and that, and I did this, and America first, whatever, then I'm going to say the same stuff that Trump is saying, not because I love Trump or I'm afraid of Trump or anything like that. I'm going to do it because that's what excites the base, right? The Republican Party, ironically, and this is another failure, by them presenting this, they don't inform their audience about how a lot of their audience are voting for Democrats, right? They don't inform their audience about how the Democrats, unlike the Republicans, are not in any way sort of focused on like, this is what my voters want, right? Now, in a last desperation at the end of Biden's term, the polls were so low. Yeah, they try to do the student debt stuff or whatever, but he's been in power for a long time. He could have done so much, chose not to, right? Because their main thing is just, we're going to point the other guys, you know, oh, the Republican Party, they're racist, whatever. We're not as crazy as those guys. You know, you're not gonna vote. You want those guys to be in charge? Like, that's gonna be their whole thing. But in contrast, the Republican Party has decided they're gonna be the cool dad, right? The cool dad who gives his 10-year-old a beer, right? Their kids are drinking anyway, and it's just a little beer. Right, that's the Republican Party approach. So once again, the Republican Party delivers what their voters want, but there's a sort of a chicken before the egg. They will try to influence, and that's the weird thing. I gave a scenario where I said the politicians try to make a case, like, if you know what's better for your voters, don't like just decide what's better for them and like you're gonna like do that thing. No, make your case so the voters see the light, and then have your voters say that this is what we want, right? But I was talking about from a good faith perspective, right? But obviously politicians right now, what I see Republicans doing is they, you know, seeing that there's a lot of energy behind Trump, so let's play Trump, let's be fake MAGA, right? I'm gonna do all that, and I'm getting lost my chain of thought. So I had a good point I was gonna make, and I lost my chain of thought. So that they're pretending to be MAGA because that's where the vote. Okay. So self-fulfilling prophecy, chicken for the egg. So not only do they feed into this rhetoric because that's so MAGA is the powerful thing that can get you power and money through votes, right? So I'm going to tap into MAGA. What's MAGA talking about? Oh, the election thing. Yeah, we got to look into the election, right? What's MAGA talking about? Oh, the border, open borders. Yeah, open borders, right? What else is MAGA talking about? MAGA's talking about the socialistic. Yeah, socialist. I'm gonna tap into whatever so I can feed off of that energy and get myself votes and power, right? But by doing so, they in effect do the bad faith example of what I talked about before, where I say make the case, make your case so the voters can actually, say, hey, that's actually correct, right? You have a right idea, so we want you to do that thing. But what they're doing is by putting this rhetoric out there, they are also influencing the Republican voting base in terms of their thought process, right? Because they're getting all this feedback. They're watching this propaganda in independent media that's feeding them certain narratives. They're in a social circle. Their friends are saying, this Republicans, these Democrats, this and they stole it, whatever it is, right? So they're in this sort of feedback loop. And then now you have the politicians who are just trying to tap in and get those votes, repeating it as well. So everywhere, Republican voters are looking, they're seeing this message, whatever it is. Let's say the voter stuff, propaganda media is saying it, right? The politicians are saying it. The mainstream ones, the extreme ones, they wouldn't say they were extreme, but you could look at, let's say the more legacy guys are saying it, not maybe as directly, but they're saying it. You have the newer ones who are more sort of radical, they're saying it. So you have across the spectrum, the GOP party is saying this rhetoric. You're tuning into like a Steven Crowder or Tim Pool, and he's pushing the same kind of rhetoric. You're tuning to Fox News, Newsmax, they're pushing the same rhetoric. You're talking to your friends, and they're all saying that the CRT this and the gay this, and they're trying out the gay agenda. Everyone's saying the same stuff, right? Now, we can't put the thing just on the Republicans now, because like I just pointed out, that there's a lot of different pieces that are pushing this. But the fact is, you have to admit that these politicians who are playing these games are also amplifying this, so they're making the effect greater. So if you had this amount of people that were believing in and focused on certain things, now with the Republican Party repeating it just to get those votes, now it's an even larger group of people, right? Because everyone that has a platform that's pushing out the same rhetoric is going to, it's like a virus. They're going to help to spread it to more and more people, right? But once again, before Trump was a thing, the Republican Party was focused on whatever they thought would get them votes. When Trump was a thing, the voters were with Trump. The Republican Party pretends to be with Trump so they can get the voters. But again, they're taking the lead of the voters, right? Now the voters have sent the message that they're tired of Trump. There's not enough of them who are all MAGA to win elections. They're losing elections, right? So again, what was the whole point all along? The GOP was focused on what is it that our voters, what can get me more votes, right? They're always looking for it's not, what can I do for Trump? Like, I want to do something so that Trump likes me. No, I want to do something so that I can get votes, so I can win money and power, right? And if I see that Trump energy, MAGA energy is getting that, I'm gonna do that, right? But the minute that I realized, and notice how fast it was, the minute that I realized that no longer is enough to get me my money and power, I'm going to pivot. DeSantis won, he really, really won that election in Florida in terms of the margin that he has, right? So the voters have now chosen DeSantis. He's the guy. Okay, yeah, Trump, he's got to do more of this, that, and I never really liked that guy. I'm DeSantis camp now. Again, remember the whole context of this video. CNN making a case to their audience, or having this conversation without pushback, that, I hope the Republicans learn a lesson that they should be listening to their voters and not to. It's not about Trump. It was never about Trump. It was about money and power, right? It could have been anybody else. Whoever it is that the voters are all captivated by, they're all like, yeah. That's what the GOP, that's what they're gonna pander to, that's what they're gonna focus on. But again, because of this gross failure of CNN to point this stuff out, there's not a conversation of why is it we don't have the same effect with the Democratic Party. Why are the Democrats not terrified of their voters, right? If we don't deliver on the, I mean, again, in the final hour, they did get a little bit of that terror. That's why they started doing stuff, right? Let's forget about the last, I'll just call it 6 months. Let's look at the whole first 2/3 of Biden's presidency, right? Why weren't they the whole time looking at like, oh, it seems like, well, you know what? Let me correct that. Let me correct that. So some of them will, listen to some of the stuff that they seem, gets some energy behind it. For example, they will pander about like student loan debt. Like they were playing games for a long time. Like, maybe we're going to look into it or whatever. But they were never really serious about it, right? They never felt that they needed to be serious about it until things got really, really bad. Unlike the Republican Party, who feels terrified. They feel like when Trump was a thing, I've got to be all in on Trump, otherwise I'm not going to win an election, right? So they don't wait till the final hour that like things are looking bleak, let me jump onto Team MAGA. No, from the get-go, the minute they saw the voters were all Trump, MAGA, right, not instantly, but right away, the Republican politicians are like, okay, we're gonna pretend MAGA because that's what the voters are, right? In contrast, Biden just does his little virtue signal here and there, refuses to even talk about some of the stuff. Like, think about, you don't have to actually deliver, you can just talk about stuff just to like pander. He wasn't even willing to do that about like some of the stuff that he ran on in the beginning. I think like even minimum wage, like he wouldn't even talk about it. I mean, think about it. He's not even willing to just like empty words. Like he would just not even talk about it. He's like, he felt comfortable in not even pandering to some popular things that his voters want. Again, in contrast, you would never see that with Republicans. Why is that? Why is it that you never see the dishonest, corrupt, scumbag Republicans, right? I don't want to make that clear. They're not a good group of people. But why is it that you never see them seeing that their voters are all like, we need this thing, and the Republican Party will maybe run on it, like, yeah, we need this thing, and then when they get in power, don't even want to talk about it. No, right? If they see that's where the energy is, they're gonna keep talking about it from the beginning to end. Every day, yeah, border this, border that, CRT this, whatever. Yeah, and Trump is a great president, like from beginning to end. Why is that difference? And why is it that the Democrat voters don't realize this? Well, part of it is stuff like CNN, right? Why don't they realize that they could get so much more from the people they vote for if they would put the fear in this party like the way Republican voters do? Republican voters say, listen, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, we're not going to vote for you. We're going to vote you out. Republican voters talk about firing their politicians, right? Now, I would argue for the wrong reasons, right? I definitely would argue for the wrong reasons. But forget about that. Forget about that detail. Just focus on the fact that the Republican voters, like even if it's we won't vote for anyone who will not put a national ban on Eminem having a gay Eminem or like that's something like that. Something so trivial, right? Even if they came with something so trivial like that, you would see Republican voters saying, listen, if you don't do something about this gay Eminem character, we won't vote for you. Right? Something as silly as that. They will say, we are not going to vote, we're going to fire you. Right? Meanwhile, the Democrat voters, they will talk a good game. Yeah, we need health care, we need this, we need that, but they're not willing to fight for it. They're not willing to say, we're going to fire you. Right? Now, votes will get suppressed by inaction, right? They don't deliver. Now, it doesn't many people are motivated to come to the poll, but it's not enough. Like, they can still win elections even with that. Like, look how they're doing right now with the midterms, right? You don't have that similar threat. Now, in contrast, If you go against the voters in the Republican Party, you will be destroyed, right? Look at how the Democrats got the Senate in the first place, right? Somebody effed around and found out. You don't have that threat. Why is it that the Democrat voters are so soft? Why are they so soft and so timid and so, like, they got so energized about this George Floyd thing. They got into this Black Lives, everybody, Black Lives Matter, or whatever, and they go out there and they're in the streets and they'll do direct action off of that thing, which ended up in what? What was the result of that? Right? But I don't see no fight for no health care. I mean, look, the biggest thing that we got from the left, right? Forced to vote, right? However you feel about forced to vote. Forced to vote, there was some kind of momentum. I would argue not not nearly as much as there should have been, but still they had a little something going. I think they did protests in multiple states, a coordinated thing. Then you got the grifters on YouTube that try to get their photo ops in there, but they had a little something going. But after that, what have they fought for after that? After forced to vote, what have they done? Right? Their thought leaders are online beefing with each other, like who's fake left and this and that, and I'm gonna do a whole defense video for Jimmy Dore. Somebody they're attacking Jimmy Dore like you're Jimmy Dore's bitch. Like you gotta do a whole video to go and defend Jimmy Dore, to point out like Jimmy Dore is being attacked. Like, so, and like what I gotta do with you? Let Jimmy Dore's a grown-ass man, let him defend himself. Right? And you got the other side who, you know, they just want to talk about well, they're the ones attacking Jimmy Dore, right? So they, oh, Jimmy Dore this, Jimmy Dore that, and then the other side, oh, Jimmy Dore is getting attacked by the, like, that's what we get from the left. And because of this connection between media and the people, if that's what the media is talking about, right? So you're consuming media, and that's all the bullshit. They're on that bullshit. Then what do you get from the voters? Bullshit. Right? On the other hand, what's happening on the right? You have their media is telling them civil war and this and that and this and they're gonna the woke stuff and blah blah blah, and we gotta fight, we gotta save our country, right? And they out there. Interestingly enough, their people are out there. There were thousands of people, protest rallies all over the country. They ready and they will threaten their politicians. Like, you don't do this. If you don't get the CRTs out of our school, the CRTs out of our school, we're not gonna vote for you, right? What do you see happening on the left? Where's the fight? Where's the fight? They sat on their asses. Right now, Biden's presidency is probably gonna be over. I don't know. They said they might hold the House. I don't know. It's not looking too good. If they don't hold both the House and the Senate, Biden's presidency is over. And the left sat by and allowed that to happen. If they were really serious about the stuff they talk about, they would be going to war against the Democrat Party and saying, you better deliver or we're gonna fire you. We're gonna get you out of office. All of you, AOC, Pelosi, we want you out of office if you're not gonna deliver. We want health care, we want this, we want that. And if whoever's not fighting for it, we're gonna fire you. Right, we're gonna show up at your office. We're gonna show up at where is it? Nothing. Nothing. Deflated. Deflated. What you get on the left? Oh, fake progressives attack Jimmy Dore. Right? And I realize that I'm talking about people who are really engaged in politics. I understand, obviously, the normies are not watching Jimmy Dore or any of these content creators I'm talking about. Normies are watching, like, MSNBC. Well, a lot of normies not watching a lot of news in general right now, I presume. But those who are going to be watching establishment stuff. They're going to be watching MSNBC. I do understand that. But here's the point. The types of people who would be the ones to fight, they are watching these content creators, these thought leaders, right? The type of people who would actually fight for the things that the left say they care about, they're going to be watching these independent left-wing channels, right? And what are they getting from these channels? right? What are they telling their viewers to be concerned about? Oh, Jimmy Dore is being attacked. They're attacking Jimmy Dore. This is Jimmy Dore derangement syndrome. Well, let me see how many clicks I got for that video. I'm getting a lot of clicks for this. Video after video. Oh, Jimmy Dore said this. Oh, Jimmy Dore said that. Oh, look what Joe Rogan said. Oh, Joe Rogan this, Joe Rogan that. That's what the left is watching. The people who would be in the streets, the people who would be the activists, the people who would be the architects behind a revolution, behind a fight for these things that the left claims that they're serious about. Those people are watching these bullshitters on YouTube and other platforms talking about bullshit, right? Now, people on the left would in my opinion, accurately, critique, the right is concerned about the wrong things, this nonsensical CRT stuff and woke this, whatever. Okay. But at least they're fighting for the things they believe in, right? You could sit up on your high horse and you could critique that the conservatives, they're clueless and this and that, they falling for this woke stuff. But what are you fighting for? They fighting for bullshit? Okay, I agree. But what are you fighting for? Right? You're not fighting for nothing. Right? I mean, you would sit on your ass and allow us to come so close to where we basically end up with the Biden presidency ending, right? And regardless of what you feel about Biden, if you're so concerned about healthcare and crime or whatever these things are, can you imagine the damage of wasting 2 years where nothing gets done? Anybody that's serious, you serious about this stuff, whether it's crime, the border, anybody who claims to be serious about this stuff and does not see the damage of 2 years of nothing getting done. Like when the Democrats had the majority, they were barely doing anything. But if they lose it, they ain't gonna be doing jack shit. And they're gonna be happy to do nothing too. But yet there's no fight from the left. There's no fight, there's no revolution. Look at what was happening when they had Build Back Better and Joe Manchin was doing his thing, right? And the Democrats were just folding left and right. Where was the massive rejection? Like, you Democrats suck. We voted for you. This bill has the things that we want, and you're letting this Joe Manchin guy. Where were the people flooding in the streets to fight for this thing? They weren't there, and ironically, once again, the kinds of people who would fight for these things, what type of content were they consuming? Who were the thought leaders they were looking up to? They were looking up to people who weren't about shit, right? They were listening to people who were busy on, trying to get clicks on the YouTube beefs and whatever. That's who they were consuming. So this whole Build Back Better thing was allowed to just be completely destroyed without any major consequence to Democrats, right? They are even able to pull off what they're pulling off right now in the midterms after that gross failure. Why? Because the left ain't shit in America, right? You could talk about, and I critique the right a lot, obviously. I have a lot of issues with the right in this country in terms of, like, I think both, the so-called left and right in this country I consider to just be lost and toxic. Obviously, I feel that there's a lot more issues on the right than there are on the left, right? But it's not a competition, right? Stop thinking about, well, at least we're not as bad. It's not a competition. Each side should be focused on doing the right thing. We want to be the ones doing the right thing. We don't care about what the other side is doing. They're going to do what they're going to do. But we care about the country, we care about our fellow Americans, and we're going to focus on that, right? That's what it should be about, not about who's worse than the other, right? So in that vein, I would point out again, I'll say it again, the left in this country ain't shit, right? The left in this country is a mirror image of these content creators, right? Jimmy Dore defense videos, Jimmy Dore attack videos, right? While chance of getting, Medicare for all and all the stuff that they claim to care about, right? This is, oh, we got it, this and that, and the environment, and right? But meanwhile, there's no fight, right? They want to Jimmy Dore beef, Jimmy Dore worship, right? We're all about attacking Jimmy Dore, or we're all about defending Jimmy Dore. Whatever gets us the most clicks. The things that you claim to care about are getting worse and worse and worse, but yet they feel totally comfortable enabling it. Enabling us moving further away from Medicare for all, further away from fair wages, all the stuff they say they care about. They are totally comfortable sitting out to brunch as we move away from protecting the environment, right? What does the left in this country really stand for? What do they really, what are they willing to fight for, right? We know they were willing to fight for George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, right? That got them out. There was a fight, right? But after that died down, there was one last sort of I think there's a thing like when you're dying, like the last breath. Like that was forced to vote. Forced to vote was the last little thunder, what you want to call it. I gotta go get my food. But yeah, it's on some bullshit, man. Oh man. Sorry if I missed. Joe Biden is the worst president. I'm sure he is. Joe Biden is the worst. One side says Joe Biden the worst president in U.S. history. The other side says Trump is the best president in my lifetime. Right. Channel, leave in the comment section below, click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. And the message today is CNN ain't shit, and the left in this country ain't shit. Thanks for watching. Is that Jules? Looks like Jules. That's Joe. I can barely see. That's Mr. Rock. Mr. Rock is in the house. How you doing, man? Hope you had a good weekend. Until next time. Obviously, I can't read any comments while I'm driving like a maniac. So I will check your comments on the replay. But thanks for joining. Thanks for the likes and support, comments. I know Mr. Rock is probably upset with me for being so harsh on the left. But I'm going to always call it like I see it. Right? I'm going to always call it like I see it. Right or wrong. In terms of I can make mistakes. I am capable of making mistakes. But whatever it is, it's gonna be my genuine, like, how I feel based on the data, not just feelings, based on the data, based on what I'm observing. That's where I'm gonna be coming from. So, on that note, I'm gonna go get my food. I got a headache. I think that whole weekend with the house thing, and I slept, like, today I was just exhausted. I slept for like 3 hours today, probably more. Yeah, I guess one good thing is the company I hired to do the house cleaning said that they're going to they actually stepped up. They're a new business. They offered to come and complete the job. So they basically admitted that they didn't complete the job. There's even a specific service that they're supposed to do they didn't do. They were supposed to do, it's called deep cleaning, which includes the fridge. They didn't even touch the fridge. It's a new business, less than a year old, so they're, I'll give them some level of understanding. And the fact that they reached out and they said, listen, we want to make it, and they've offered to finish the job, and I'm gonna allow them. The only thing is, hopefully, I know it's kind of a weird thing. I would rather not have the place empty for a week, but they're not able to come until next weekend. So what happens if somebody books tonight, or you know what I mean? Like, I needed it cleaned when I hired them, because I lost a guest. I lost $800 after spending over $1,000 because of this. So cleaning it next weekend is, I appreciate it, but that's a little bit late. But we'll see how it works out. Anyway, I'm gonna get some food to eat, hydrate. I hope I'm not getting sick, man. I think I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I'm stressed. This weekend did not help. And I did 15 hours. I guess that too. I'm not as young as I used to be. I was up for 15 hours with that cleaning and all this kind of stuff, and moving mattress and furniture around, and I'm running to the laundry and running back and running to the laundry and checking up on these people. I got strangers in my house. It's just crazy. I must have made 15 trips to the laundry and back or something, right? It was just insane. And my day didn't end until 2 o'clock this morning, right? 2 o'clock this morning? Yeah, right. Yeah, that'll be this morning. 2 o'clock this morning is when my day finally ended. And part of the aggravation was an hour and a half trying to install a quick set smart lock. Disaster. Hour and a half. It wouldn't fit. I couldn't get that sounds kind of sexual. Couldn't get the shaft aligned. Whatever. It just wouldn't. I had a problem with the first part where you tighten it up, and then it kept one piece kept sliding out. Then I figured that out. Then I just couldn't get that shaft in. I couldn't. That's what she said. But yeah, it was frustrating. To spend all that time after a long, exhausting day, and then I'm fighting with the lock. I usually don't get like outbursts, but I was like, I was cursing, and I'm just like, son of a stupid lock. Who made this thing? Yeah, I started to lose my cool. It takes a lot for me to lose my cool. I know, contrary to what you might see on the video, the videos, I'm passionate about what I'm speaking about, and it's a little different thing when I'm presenting. It's a little different, doing a video, talking about something I'm passionate about, than my real life. You know what I mean? Like how I deal with stress and whatever. But yeah, in my real life, I'm not very dramatic. I'm very easygoing, always making jokes, typically I have a smile on my face. I try to find trying to find the humor in things. Sometimes some bad things, I try to find the humor in them. But even in bad situations, I'm usually the cool guy, kind of laid back, but yeah, at the end of the night, I was done, man. An hour and a half sitting with this damn lock and disassemble, reassemble, disassemble, reassemble, disassemble. And it was kind of like, normally I've had difficult stuff like that. Like you guys saw me, I fought with the car, and I've had trouble with locks, but I always succeed. I failed. I couldn't get it. I had to take the lock off and put back the original one. Then I ended up having to hide the key for the guests, and then they couldn't find the key. I could see them on the camera. They were like, I told them on one side, they were looking on the wrong side. So they come late at night, the place isn't ready. They're stumbling around in the dark trying to find the key. Yeah, it was not a good look. All right, I guess I can. I don't know why I'm stopped here. I need to actually end the stream because I need to pick up my food. I'm being an idiot right now. I guess I'll quickly take a look. Well, we'll see. Bill Bennett doesn't have the emotional impact of what happened to George Floyd, right? Politicians are different than movements. Good point. Sounds like a cool car. Says, I don't know how to doze. We'll get into it later. You be well. Never upset with honesty. Get yourself a milkshake. Oh, man. I don't know if I need a milkshake, man. No, I don't know. I've been shafted by locks, annoying as shit. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. The problem I've had with locks before, it's weird. There's like a thing where, what is it? Somehow something doesn't line up right. Like you're trying to put the interior piece. You got to put it through the whatever, I don't know what that stuff is called. But and it doesn't line up right, and like no matter what you do, there's always some. You know what? I felt like I was doing a puzzle. It was like a legit puzzle, like straight up. Doze. All right. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I'll give you a little. Yeah. That's what we're rocking with. That's how we get down. We got the low washing fluid as well. All right, guys. What is up with this? I'm being a goofball. All right. I'm being a goofball. I'm gonna get to this restaurant and my food is gonna be gone. They're gonna be like, sorry, we're closed. We gave away your food, sir. They closed like in 20 minutes or something. I'm not that far. But damn, I ordered some paella. Paella. I'm gonna eat some paella tonight. Paella. What you gonna eat tonight, man? I'm gonna eat some paella. Paella on fuego tonight, anoche. And try not to get any tickets. So far, so good. Even though it got a little crazy earlier, a guy in a Charger, he effed around and found out. You know what I love? On the side of this car, it says I don't even know what it says, 400 and something horsepower. And what I love about that is that people actually believe that. If you think this has only 400 horsepower, I got a bridge to sell you. Right. Where is my food? Dare strike. Holy shit. A fucking deer, bro. Wow. He was straight gangster. And I saw his eyes first. I saw these two little dots like reflecting. I'm like, what is that? You want to say deer in headlights? Wow. And all of a sudden I see the deer, and he's in the road like gangster. I was like, what? I gotta tell you though, that right there is one of the reasons why. I mean, yeah, I love sports cars. They're fun to drive and everything. But one additional thing I like about them is the performance and handling. In terms of like that deer, super easy for me to avoid in this car. Now, if I was driving a regular car, maybe the brakes are not as strong, the handling is definitely not as sharp. Like, that deer was not a challenge for me at all. Like, I can easily like maneuver around it, stop suddenly, because I have so much grip and so much power and just amazing handling. You know, you try to do stuff like that in a regular, like an SUV or something like that, you roll over. You don't stop in time. Your steering is slow. So if something happens, I'm on a highway and something falls off somebody's car or somebody loses control or whatever, like my ability to maneuver around things is definitely an awesome thing. I don't know if there's a cop sitting there. So I definitely like that about high performance vehicles. Obviously, it can also go the opposite way if you're driving crazy because you have a fast car. But I think my safety record speaks for itself. I've driven a lot of miles, and my luck is not the best. So I'm pulling over, doing live streams when I know that this restaurant is closing soon. Craziness. And I'm not even that, I'm further away than I thought. It's telling me I'm like 10 minutes away. Holy crap. What do they do with food when nobody picks it up? I guess it goes to the staff. Let's see. 12 minutes away. probably take a small bite, and then it's like lunch for tomorrow, I guess. Because yeah, I don't want to be eating a big heavy meal, a big heavy Spanish meal, and then going to bed. I don't know when that's gonna happen because I'm all wound up driving, and then I gotta unwind when I get home. So who knows? But it's still, regardless of that, it's too late to be having a big meal. Anyway, we are 2 minutes away. 2 minutos. 2 minutos. The guy was laughing. He was like, I thought you weren't going to show up, man. Yeah. What you gonna do, man? So what's the deal with the house? Are they gonna keep the house, or what's going on? I'll read your comments in a second. We're there. We're like 2 minutes away. 2 minutes away. So I'm hearing people say they might actually keep the house. Wow. I mean, I guess to take their words, historic for them to pull that off. Wow. I mean, I guess it's not necessarily that surprising because I mean the Republican Party really went all in on their insanity, which basically hands power to the Democrats. You know? And so I say it's a weird effect that the things that people on the right are supporting, enabling, or pushing for, whichever their perspective is actually leading us in a direction that they claim to be fearful of. So it's a really bizarre thing. They're so afraid of this particular future for the country, but yet they will participate in the very thing that would lead us there. Like, if you want this country to become, like, if you're afraid of this country becoming a socialist country and you're afraid of socialism, like that's the worst thing, then you would be pushing the Republican Party on a different path. Because the path that the Republican Party is pushing for is the path to socialism, right? That's what comes from the failure of capitalism, right? And apparently we're here, right? When you play these games and whatnot while people are drowning, eventually you get to a collapse point where from those ashes comes something radical like socialism, right? So if you're afraid of socialism, you should be afraid of the modern day Republicans, because they're one of the biggest advocates for socialism, right? But yeah, it's pretty insane. Let me get my food. Which one is it? Oh, this one, okay. Pick up. Carl.
So you're not gonna
This food is good, man. Of course I'm gonna show up, man.
Because I was like, oh man, it's over an hour. So what the fuck? So right now, bro, I'm gonna take it home. 3727.
Alright. What time he goes?
Only Friday, Saturday, kitchen closes at 11:30. So,
11:30?
Yeah, during the week we close at 10:30.
Okay. I thought you guys were closed already.
Yeah, we're still like giving like last check, so
okay.
So we're about to go. Yeah.
This is when you start putting on the bad music that nobody likes. Get out of here.
Something like that.
That's a polite way of like, get out of here.
We start with this and then we'll just lights go.
Yeah, turn on the lights.
Yeah. This one's really fine. You want me
Let
to
me
try
get another
again?
one. Yeah, let me get
Yeah, and then we'll start with the lights though.
the bright lights.
Uh-huh. That's when people start running out.
I was saying, but I came late now. It's too late for me to even eat this now. To eat now, because like it's bedtime.
You know what? I always eat after living here. So.
You
The thing is, like, even that I work in a restaurant, you don't have time to eat there.
It's busy, right?
Yeah.
I got a sign on the bottom thing. Okay. Gracias, señor. I literally just saw some guy lifting a woman. I don't know why. I don't know why he was doing that. It's kind of weird. Where's my keys? Lost my car keys. There we go. Too much stuff in my pocket. I saw a comedian was saying, I don't know who it was, saying something about when you get old. I think it might be Cosby, but whatever. When you get old, that's when you start making noises when you get up. When you sit down and it's true though, man. It's true. That's why it was funny. Whoever said that, it was funny as hell. So let me take a look at your comments before I get out of here. End the live stream again. Dan, be careful. Yeah, the handling is nice. Yeah, I know when you were commenting that too. In the vet, got my new 2000. Oh, nice, 77,000 miles. Daily drove since a couple years ago. No accident. Nice. Yeah, I had the Valentine one before. I had it for a long time. I was a hardcore guy with that, but they kind of fell behind the curve at some point in terms of technology. They're still dominating in terms of range. I think even the Escort, which is what I have now, I have the Escort 365, I think it's called, or 360. I think it's 360. But anyway, they still have I think better range. My range is pretty good, but I think the Valentine one still goes a little bit further. So props to V1 for still, delivering on at least that front. But I like the GPS. Like I can mark spots where the cops are. So when I'm driving, it alerts me to a spot where I saw cops before. So even if they're not running the radar gun, I know that that's a popular spot. So it's an extra layer of cushion. They're trying to steal it, but maybe we'll give it. They promise not to make Trump speaker. If Trump will be speaker, they will steal it. Oh man, the GOP Republican doesn't want to win. MAGA Trump is who I vote for. Trump as speaker would be awesome. I don't know about all that, son. I don't know about all that. And on that note, I'm gonna finally sign off by the final time and get my headache-ridden, exhausted self home. Take two bites of this thing, hopefully. I have self-control, and then that's it. Maybe hydrate some more or something, because I still, it's not bad, but I don't feel right now. I think it's the stress and aggravation, whatever. Anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining the live stream.